Hey, welcome to Taylor's Trick Taking Table. I'm Taylor, and I'm here in front of the Kickstarter for All Plays New 4 tricky card games. You can pick any door. They lead to the different games. I am not stopping you. You can click them whenever you want. You've got Pies, which is a re-implementation of Plums, or Pie Malflamen, where it's kind of like a drafting game where you're playing into the trick. And then you've got Lunar, a wonderful game. It's like Fox in the Forest and teams, where cards are split up into rank and suit. You've got Mori, where it's trick taking with dice, where the dice are may follow and your cards that you're dealt are must follow. Oh, and then Bacon, where it's a climbing shedding game where you can pass the lead to your partner. Ooh, pick a door. I'm just hanging out. I got nowhere to be. I'll be here. Yeah, have fun. Crazy weather we're having, huh? Yeah, or not. I'll pick a door for you. Let's do that one. Hey, have a good time. Hey, welcome to door number 5. This is where the cool kids hang out. No rules here. Rule number 1, no rules. Rule number 2 is take your shoes off. Tracks in dirt if you don't. Anyway, we are here to cover Lunar. It's by Masato Uesugi, and it is a re-implementation of Ortrick, which I've talked about a little bit on some blogs before. But essentially, the hook is it's a partnership game version of Fox in the Forest. It's kind of my own hook. You can also play this at 2, which is really cool. The cards are broken up into suit and rank, and this is in the partnership. One player is going to play a suit or a rank, and their other player is going to play the other one. So like maybe I play a suit, and then my partner plays a rank. Our cards combine, and they face off against the 2 cards that just combined from the other team. And then whoever plays the highest will take the trick. Why I say Fox in the Forest is because you want some tricks, not too many. You want to hit a range, just like Fox in the Forest. You're about to go to the table and have me explain how to play. Alrighty. Bye. The deck in Lunar is made up of 2 different types of cards, each with their own backs. You have number cards, which go from 1 to 8, and there's 3 copies each. And then there's suit cards, which are 4 suits, but there's 6 in each suit. The stars are just points in the endgame scoring. There's 1 on each suit and on the 3s in the game. A game of Lunar can be played in 2 players or 4 players. Here we have the game of 4 players set up. I'll teach how to play 2 player in a little bit. The game is played until after a hand if one of the teams hits 30 points, and then whoever has the most wins. This is just a score tracker to keep track of that, because there's going to be a moon team and then kind of this star symbol team here. I'm just going to move this so we have more space on the board. This is a tracker that keeps track of which team took how many tricks. As you can see, they both start on 0, but as you take a trick, you'll just move up along the side. There's only 12 tricks in a hand, and then in the inner part here, it tells you how many points your team is getting currently. So you want your team to either get 0 to 3 tricks or 7 or 8 tricks, because as you can see, that's worth the most points. If you both get 6, it's 5 each. But if you didn't get 0 to 3 or 7 or 8, like if one team actually took 5 and the other took 7, as you can see, it's worth 0 points if you're in this red area. So this just keeps track of tricks. So I'm going to move it up here. Each player is going to get dealt 6 rank cards and 6 suit cards. And then depending on who's on each team, as you can see, Princess Yue and her koi fish are on a team, and then Sokka and Katara are on a team. You're going to sit opposite your teammate. And then for the first trick, or for the first hand, you're going to just deal out these lead cards. So Princess Yue is going to be the lead for the moon team, and then her partner is going to be the fish over there, and then same over here, Sokka is going to be the lead for the dark moon team. After the deal, players are going to exchange 4 cards with their partner, 2 rank cards and 2 suit cards exactly. And then after that happens, whoever is the first lead player, they're going to start determining kind of what trump is for the round. So Princess Yue is going to look at her hand, and maybe after the exchange, she has some blue, and maybe thinks blue would be a good trump. And along with her 2 orange, maybe she just doesn't want green or pink to be trump. So she's going to flip over this tile over here. These are just 4 tiles dictating what trump is going to be for this round. So then it comes to Sokka, and Sokka's going to look at his. Maybe he sees a lot of orange, so he wants to keep orange, and maybe he'll flip blue. And so then finally it's going to come to the third player, the koi fish, and so they're looking at their hand and they're remembering what their partner passed, and remember they liked orange, so they're actually going to turn over the pink. So through this process of elimination, players are going to kind of, well, I guess 3 of the 4 players are going to determine what the trump suit will be for the round. So then this will just get stacked up there. So then again, starting with the start player, Princess Yue here, she is going to lead a card to the trick. So she can play any of her rank cards or any of her suit cards. Let's say she played a suit card. So she played the bat. Going to the next player, now they can play again either a rank or a suit. If they wanted to play a suit card and a suit card has already been played, they must follow suit if possible. So they would have to play this bat. Maybe they don't want to do that yet, so they could just play a 1. Coming to the koi fish, now if your lead has played one of the 2 types, you have to play the other type. So since a suit was played, the koi fish has to play one of the ranks. So maybe they're just going to play maybe the 4. And then finally coming to Katara, since her partner has played the rank, she has to play one of the suits. So they're losing it, so she doesn't want to play the star, because that's worth a point, so she's actually just going to play that into the trick. So now what happens, it's almost as if it's like a 2-player game, and they both collectively played 2 cards to the trick. So the highest of the lead suit is going to win. If there's trump, it'd be the highest trump. But so since the lead suit was this, it would be a 1 of, it's like almost like that team played a 1 in the bat suit and the other team played a 4 in the bat suit. So Princess Yue's team, the white team, is going to collect the trick. In the rules, it just says the leader is always just going to collect the trick to keep things simple for the team. You can also just discard it because you have the track up here that keeps track of it all. And so then you're going to increment this by 1. So the light moon is going to move up by 1. Even though the koi fish played like the 4, and it's kind of like they played the higher rank or whatever that would mean, the leader of the team always leads. So in this setup right here, the koi fish will never ever lead to the trick. Same with Katara. Katara will never lead. It'll just be between Sokka and Princess Yue. After the hand, these are going to shift clockwise. So then things will look like this. So now Yue won't be one of the leaders, and it's actually going to be koi fish and Sokka. And that is like a whole thing, and I'll explain that when that happens. So let's revert this now so it's not too confusing. So Yue won the trick. She will now lead. So let's say Yue led the 7. Coming to Sokka, since suit hasn't been played, Sokka can play whatever suit they want, but maybe Sokka actually just plays the 3, leaves it up to the next player. So the koi fish would then have to play the suit, and again, they could play whatever suit they want. Maybe they played that one, and now if Katara was short-suited, she could, if she wanted to, play maybe this to trump in, because the 3 would beat the 7 in the weaker suit. But she has this, so she actually does have to play it. If she didn't, and maybe she didn't even have the trump suit and played one of these, this trick would resolve in an interesting way. The bat suit would be the lead suit, because it was the first suit that was played, and the wolf would be offsuit. With that in mind, I'm going to show a little bit of a rewind here and show some interesting examples. So let's say, instead of playing the rank, Sokka actually played this suit. And then when it came to the koi fish, if koi fish didn't have the green and, didn't play trump and ended up playing that bat, and then when it came to Katara, she just played the rank. It's actually the first suit in the trick is going to determine what the lead suit was. So even though Yue led with the 7 first into the trick, the first suit was actually this green. So this is going to be lead suit, and this is actually going to be considered off suit now. So this green 3 is going to win the trick. Hope that example wasn't too odd. All it was meant to say was that the first suit card that is played, not the first card at all, that is going to determine what is lead suit. And again, if this came to the koi pawn and they had a green in their hand, they would have to play it. Because after all, the game is must follow. So play like this would continue for all the 12 tricks, and then at the end you would see where the players match up. So maybe it got 8 and 4. So the moon team got 10 points. They would also look through all the cards and the tricks that they won, looking for stars. So 1, 2, 3. So then they would get 3 more points, and you can keep track of that on the scoreboard. And so then you would shift the lead. So now a new player is the lead person. You would redetermine trump, and then you would keep playing until one of the team hits 30 points. That can happen at the latest at 4 hands. How you play the 2-player version of Lunar is a little bit different. You still have some of the similar setup, so each player is going to get dealt 6 suits and 6 ranks. You're going to have the same trump determination, so starting with the first lead player, they're going to flip one, and then the second player is going to choose a different one to flip, and then finally the last choice goes to, again, the start player. They're going to flip it, so you're going to have a lead picked in a similar way. You're still scoring the same thing. You want stars on cards, and you want to get that specific range, 0 to 3 or 7 or 8. But part of setup now is after you deal the 12 cards to each player, you're going to get all the suit cards and all the rank cards, shuffle them, and reveal 3 in front of the piles. So players are still playing a rank in a suit and then a rank in a suit to the trick. However, one of them has to come from their hand, while the other one has to come from the table. So for example, for the first trick, Yue, let's say she was leading, she can play any card from her hand or any from the table. So let's say she just picks this 7 from her hand, and then it'll go to Katara. So now Katara can play any from her hand, and then any from the table. Maybe she plays the purple bat. But so now what's interesting is, since Yue led from her hand already, she can't play from her hand anymore. She has to pick from the table. And since she already played a rank, she has to pick from a suit from the table. So now she actually only has 2 choices, whether she wants to kind of win it or she wants to lose it. So if she picks this because she wants to win it with the star, coming to Katara here, since she played a card from her hand, she played the suit, she actually has to pick a rank now from the table. So maybe she just picks the 6 here. So Yue would win because it was the strongest card, because it was trump. Even though this was a lead suit, this was trumped in. Again, Yue could have picked this, and she would have lost because this was the first suit card played, just like 4-player. But let's say Yue did pick this, she won the trick, so she's going to collect the cards, move up her token once on the tracker here, and then she is going to lead to the next trick. Importantly, you're always going to have 3 choices in the suits and the numbers on the table. But so let's show an example of the second trick. Let's actually say Katara won, just to show something a little bit different. So again, she can play any card from her hand, but let's say she actually leads with a card from the table. So then coming to Yue could, if she wanted to, play her rank from the table too. So then now when it comes to Katara, she just can't play any of those suits. She'd have to play a suit from her hand. So if she plays any of that, right, the suit that Yue would have to follow would be one of those, so Yue would have to play that. So this trick play would continue just like the original game. You'd play 12 tricks, and then if you hit 30, you see who has the most points and they would win, and if not, you just keep playing hands. So that is Lunar, and again, these are first impressions and a Kickstarter preview, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. That said, I got to play this a bit ago on the train to BGG Con and at BGG Con with James Nathan, who scouted the game when it was called Ortrick, and I really enjoyed it then. You could check out those con thoughts, and I think this implementation of it, the wonderful art and this score tracker and everything kind of with the theme of nocturnal animals and the moon, I think it's a stellar production that is just absolutely wonderful. The hook itself, where it's Fox in the Forest kind of as a team, and I don't know if that is the hook that I was told to pitch it as. I'm not told to pitch it as anything, but I personally love that because it draws people in. I think Fox in the Forest was just a huge game in the modern trick-taking world to kind of show people what modern trick-takers can do. And I feel like that scoring system where you want some but not most, and you want to hit kind of like a band, is super intuitive and super interesting. And the fact that it uses that scoring system in a really clean way. There's nothing too wacky, and it's easy for players to understand kind of the band they need to hit. But also, just production-wise, the fact that they had this is super helpful, because unlike Fox in the Forest, where it's just 2 people, you're just playing tricks, and you just stack the tricks, and it's kind of easy to keep track of how many you have. The fact that you play like a rank in a suit, and it's a partnership game, and there's passing, there's a little bit more going on, I think, than Fox in the Forest, so it's nice to have this as a tracker, so players can keep track of where they're at. So this is a nice production addition to the game. The suits and the cards having points on them is really nice. That kind of feels, again, Fox in the Forest-ish, where you have those 7s that have the points on them. So it feels nice to not just worry about this, but also which cards you care about in the trick. And I think that informs a lot of the trick play and a lot of the passing and some really cool back and forth between the partners. And if you can set your partner up for what you want, or you help your partner with what they want, especially when they're like the leader, right? You want to make sure, since they have so much more agency in the tricks of a hand, if they are the leader on your team, that you're paying attention to what they want, especially for what trump is. I think one of the cool decisions of the game is when the trump is picked, because the third player has to kind of go off maybe a little bit of what is good in their hand, but also what their partner passed them, because they want to know maybe a little bit of what good trump would be, which suit would be good trump for their partner. I hope that made sense. But it's funny because like you don't really want to take all the tricks, so there's I think a little bit of like a nuance to it. I really like the team aspect in the game. I think often team games will kind of lack that real element that makes it feel like a team game. Like sometimes they'll just have passing and it's like, okay. I think the fact that you're playing half of what the other person plays and like you're forming a card together for the trick makes it feel like a huge joint effort, and it makes the camaraderie and the team aspect really, really nice. And I like the two-player as well. There's something really cool to having the table be part of what you have to play and then your hand be part of what you have to play. It's a really clever way to make, like in the crew, where you have the table open information that you play off of and then your hand information that you play off, but have it be like competitive. Especially because sometimes there's a race to choose one of the table cards before your opponent does, but then also it's kind of interesting because at the very start of the hand you have 12 cards in your hand, so you have a ton of options, whereas there's only 3 and 3 on the table. And so if you pick from your table first, there's more unknown for your opponent. But it's cool because as the hand goes on, especially in the last few tricks of the hand, your hidden information hand of cards is actually more limiting than the table. So it's cool to have a hand of cards go from a ton of hidden information to just like not that much, and have the table actually be more of kind of a flexible option for you as it goes on. So I love it too, how that arc can kind of move, especially since it's a zero-sum game. It's a cool way to also have cards cut that slowly come out over the course of the game. Yeah, I think 2 is a really clever implementation that people who liked Fox and the Forest will see this as a really interesting step up. I know there's no powers, but I think it's a really good like kind of back and forth battle that uses the Fox and Forest in different ways. So that is Lunar, a really slick partnership game that does the suit and rank really, really well. I personally love Dois or Doi or whatever, which is Taiki Shinzawa's that kind of splits the rank in the suit. And it's really cool to see that in another game, especially a partnership game where you get to make a card together with your partner. Oh, so much fun. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hey, welcome back. I hope you had a good time. There's other doors if you want to click them. Why not? Explore away. I'll just be here. Woo! Trick taking! Climbing shedding! Woo!